We will be looking at a section from the Administration Manual for Paper Testing, Accommodations, and English Learner Support. The section we will look at will be Staff Roles and Responsibilities, and this is on page 14. Just a word of caution, some of the information in the paper-based administration manual is different than the information that's in the online administration manual. So pay closely attention to some of the differences between the two. All right, staff roles and responsibilities. Test accommodations coordinator role. The test accommodations coordinator role may assist with activities around administering test accessibility supports. And this is optional, recommended 1 to 2. Test accommodations coordinator responsibilities. Submit requests for ACT authorized accommodations and English learner supports in the Test Accessibility and Accommodations System, TAA. Help organize materials for any examinees testing with accommodations and supports. Help with accommodations and EL support, testing administration. Coordinate with the test coordinator to have email communications forwarded. Room supervisor role. Each room must have a room supervisor responsible for all testing activities in that room. Each room supervisor must be present for the entire test session. The test coordinator may assume the role of room supervisor if only one room is used, and there must be one per test room. Just to remind you, the room supervisor for paper testing does not have to be placed in PA Next. The only room supervisors that will be in PA Next will be those that are giving the online test. All right, so only those room supervisors who are giving the online test or the test coordinator will need to go into PA Next and create an account and place them as room supervisor. If that person is only being used for a paper test, then do not create an PA Next account for that person. Room supervisor responsibilities. Before test day, assist the test coordinator as needed. Attend the trainings and briefing sessions conducted by the test coordinator. Checking activities on test day. Individually identify and admit examinees to rooms, verify ID, and mark the roster. Direct examinees to seats once admitted. Ensure all examinees admitted to a room are assigned the same timing. Ensure all examinees authorized to test over multiple days are ready to begin the same test. Administer the test. Prepare the room for testing. Take responsibility for a test room and provide an environment conducive to testing. Count test booklets upon receipt from the test coordinator. Distribute test materials, keeping test booklets in sequential serial number order. Read verbal instructions verbatim to examinees. Properly time test and monitor testing progress. And then lastly, maintain security. Keep test materials secure during testing and breaks. This is a continuation on maintaining security. The next bullet. Monitor for prohibited behavior during testing and breaks. Collect and account for all test materials before dismissing examinees. Ensure complete documentation. Complete all information on the appropriate administration forms. Record detailed documentation of any irregularities and, as required, void examinees' test. Return all test materials and forms to the test coordinator after testing. All right, so let's look at Proctor Roll. It is suggested that every room, if possible, have, regardless of the number of students, have a room supervisor and a proctor. Proctor Roll. As test rooms increase in size, proctors are required to assist the room supervisors. Number required. The following table describes the minimum number of required proctors. If your state or district has a stricter proctor policy, you should abide by that policy. Number of proctors needed for accommodation supports paper administration, 1 through 20, 0 needed. 21 through 40, 1. I'm not even going to do the rest because I am assuming that for accommodations, you're not going to put students in more than 20 in a room. And remember, if a student has small group testing on their IEP or 504 plan, you know that Louisiana requires that those students not be in a room of more than 8 students. Those students have to be in a room with 8 students or less. Proctor responsibilities. Before test day, assist a test coordinator as needed. Attend the training and briefing sessions conducted by the test coordinator. Checking activities on test day. Help room supervisors individually identify and admit examinees. Direct examinees to their seats. Administer the test. Prepare the room for testing. Distribute test materials, keeping test booklets in sequential serial number order. Verify proper timing of the test using a different timepiece than the room supervisor. Monitor testing progress. Maintain security. Monitor for prohibited behavior during testing and breaks. Report any irregularities to the room supervisor immediately. Accompany examinees to the restroom if more than one leaves during the timed portion of the test. Collect and account for all test materials before examinees are dismissed. All right, we're on page 16. Groving Proctor Roll. Schools that use multiple rooms, floors, or buildings are encouraged to appoint roving proctors to assist the test coordinator, and this is optional. Roving proctor responsibilities. Assist with check-in and or directing examinees to test rooms and seats. Help the test coordinator prepare the test materials for test rooms. Monitor hallways or escort examinees. Give room supervisors a break during testing. Keep the hallways quiet if other rooms are still testing. Count and prepare test materials for return to ACT. Then there's a rotating proctor role. Proctors are normally expected to serve in a single assigned room for the entire test session. However, if schedules require, proctors may be rotated or replaced at break, provided no room is ever left unattended, and this is optional. The rotating proctor responsibilities. Rotating proctors are responsible for all proctor tasks once they have replaced the existing proctor. Interpreter, reader, scribe. Individuals who serve as an interpreter, reader, or scribe must meet all of the following criteria. Proficient in English and, if applicable, the appropriate sign language system. Experience in administering standardized or other high-stake tests. Employed by the school district where the examinee attends school. Agrees to administer the test in compliance with ACT policies and procedures. Reads and signs the agreement for their administration. Not a relative or guardian of the examinee. Not a private consultant or individual tutor whose fees are paid by the examinee or examinee's family. Not engage in test preparation activities for ACT during the current academic year. Athletic coaches may not supervise one-on-one testing for a student athlete, even if their sport is not in season at the time of testing. Test scores achieved under the supervision of an individual who does not satisfy all requirements will be canceled. Interpreter role. The interpreter may sign verbal instructions to multiple examinees in the same room. If authorized to sign test items, this must be a one-to-one administration. The test coordinator is responsible for obtaining the services of a qualified interpreter. The interpreter must sign the interpreter's agreement. And these are the interpreter responsibilities, and this is on page 17. If an interpreter signs the verbal instructions, use American Sign Language, signing exact English, conceptually accurate signed English, and/or cued speech. Sign all verbal instructions spoken by the room supervisor. Interpret any questions from examinees and interpret the room supervisor's responses. Test items may not be interpreted without authorization by ACT. If an interpreter is authorized to sign test items, use signing exact English or cued speech. Sign from the reader's script provided by ACT without change or comment and follow the same procedures as a reader. Note, cued speech under this definition means providing visual, phonemic access to sounds of words using the official set of phoneme signs. This functions like an exact read aloud because it does not add meaning cues to the communication. All interpreters stay in the room throughout the administration and sign an interpreter's agreement. Reader role. Each examinee authorized for a reader must test one-to-one. The room supervisor serves as the reader. The reader must sign the reader's agreement. Reader responsibilities. Read from the script provided by ACT without change or comment. Repeat passages if requested by the examinee with no explanation and no additional information provided to the examinee through the reading. If using tactile graphics, raised line drawings, do not describe the graphics, attempt to interpret the graphics, provide information not in the graphics, or present the graphics in any other format. Note, the tactile graphics raised line drawings supplied with the reader script for visually impaired or blind examinees are for use only by the examinee. Sign a reader's agreement affirming you have read, understand, and will abide by the procedures outlined in ACT documentation. If ACT determines that any explanation or additional information has been provided to the examinee, that any test materials were not read verbatim or were read to a group of examinees, or that the reader did not meet ACT qualification for readers, the examinee's scores will be canceled. Scribe Role. If authorized, an examinee may use a scribe for writing tests or to mark multiple choice answers. The examinee is authorized to use a scribe, must test one-to-one. The room supervisor serves as the scribe. The scribe must sign a scribe's agreement. And finally, on the page 18 in this section, scribe responsibilities. As the examinee dictates the essay or multiple choice answer, write verbatim what the examinee says on the lined pages or mark the multiple choice answer on the answer document. Do not make any corrections not dictated by the examinee. Sign the scribe's agreement. Note, the scribe may write down notes dictated by the examinee on the blank pages of the test booklet. The examinee is responsible for telling the scribe what is and is not part of the final essay or the final multiple choice answer. All right, so this will take care of the section on staff roles and responsibilities for paper testing, and this is for accommodations and English learners. If you have any questions, please let me know.